The next morning, we meet Gingalain bright and early downstairs of the inn. He leads us towards the city exit, and soon we return to familiar roads. Our path takes us along the beach for a short while. The white sands glitter beneath the sunlight and filter annoyingly into our shoes. Eventually, we return to flat dirt roads and travel late into dusk. When the sun is finally creeping below the horizon, we stop a bit off of the main path into a grove of trees to make camp. After the fire is lit, the savory perfume of dinner makes my stomach growl. We all gather together as we serve out the food. Kara sits close to Zack during dinner, her arm brushing against his whenever she takes a bite of food. I catch Zack glancing at her every once in a while before quickly looking away. Leah scoots closer to Gingalain.
So, Gingalain, can you tell us some more stories?
He chuckles.
Oh, I don't know.
Leanna squirms.
Please?
She moves even closer. Her eyes glitter with the kind of excitement I usually associate with small children.
We'd love to hear one.
Amelia takes a tiny bite and then nods.
Perhaps one which is not as widely known.
Leanna beams at Gingalain.
Well, if that's what you wish, how can I refuse?
There's a heavy pause. After a moment, Gingalain takes a deep breath.
I loved a shadow caster.
His voice was low and sad.
I loved how her giggles shimmered with silver. I loved her moonlit hair, her star-flecked fingers. Together we wished, we teased, we played. She covered me in twilight, in soft murmurs and rain. I'll show you, my sweetling, she whispered, she soothed. My friends and their shadow magic are just misunderstood. But little by little, her mind turned to dark flowers and violent meteor showers. Shadows poured from her mouth. She spat, she swore, she roared, splattering me with ink, with oil and ore. The night was too strong, too much underneath her skin. It flared from her fingers, her shoulders, her rings. She tore apart our friendship, our home, our dreams. Surely, her friends, dishonest and cruel. Surely, she had me fooled.
Gingalain pauses. For a moment, I'm not sure if he's going to continue.
I joined them and discovered too late the mistake I had made. They had been wrong, not her. She was trying to save them, to keep their magic pure. But the shadows, they whispered, they crawled and lingered. She fell into my arms, light as mist. Her power wreathed about her neck, her chest, her wrists. As she sobbed, she whimpered, "Please, take me with you. We'll cuddle in our garden of auroras. We'll build a house of starlight, of everything lovely and bright." But there was nothing I could do. She faded into twilight, into smoke and wind. I'm left with nothing but the memory of her left on my skin.
There's a thick silence, the weight of his story still hanging in the air. The moonlight casts over Gingalain's silver hair and beard, bringing out the dark shadows across his face. The fire crackles and pops. Finally, Gingalain bows his head.
Thank you for listening to my tale.
Leanna's eyes shimmer with tears.
That was so beautiful.
Gingalain smiles, but doesn't quite reach his eyes.
Thank you.
But it was also so sad.
This weaselly little man is using poetry to steal my girl. A muscle feathers in my jaw. Wow, yeah, so amazing. I resist rolling my eyes. Leanna doesn't seem to hear me. She looks up at Gingalain with a fierce admiration, holding her hands over her heart.
Really, it's true. A lot of people lean into their pain instead of moving forward with their lives. It's really admirable.
Gingalain chuckles and ducks his chin. Okay, I guess that's supposed to be lowering his head. Suddenly bashful.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, it could use some work. Gingalain lifts his head.
Oh?
Yeah, like, maybe add in a lengthy dream sequence and change it to second person. Leanna shakes her head furiously.
Oh no! Don't change a thing. I think it's perfect how it is.
Gingalain brightens.
Thank you.
I guess I just have a more refined taste. Leanna kind of squints at me, but Gingalain doesn't seem the least bit offended. Instead, he seems amused.
Everyone has different tastes. Who do you like to read?
I don't know any poets from Terra. I blurt out the first thing that comes to my head. Come on, Edgar Allan Poe, Edgar Allan Poe. I was close. Edgar Allan Crow? He blinks.
I don't believe I've met this person or seen their work as of yet.
You should check him out sometime. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Leanna shoots me a piercing look. Maybe I should keep my emotions in check. Last thing I want is Leanna angry with me. Soon after we finish eating, Gingalain leaves to refill his canteen with water from a nearby stream. Leanna and Amelia go out into the field, but I'm not too certain what it is they're doing. Zack and Kara clean up and seem very content to do so without my help.
Oh, that looks fun.
I look up. Gingalain is staying there, retying his canteens to his belt. What does? He nods towards Leanna and Amelia. I follow his gaze to see them practicing magic out in the field. Amelia waves her hand and sends a small flurry of ice across the grass. The Pongo grins, hopping up and down with excitement.
Boy! Boy!
He bounces after it, making Leanna giggle. Her manipulator pulses blue and a small gust of wind breathes out from underneath him, makes him hover above the ground.
Boy! It's okay. I got you.
Leanna's breeze glides him along above the grass, steady and strong. The Pongo's eyes light up.
Boy!
Leanna beams. She continues to push the Pongo along, gathering speed and momentum. She makes him soar across the grass, and he lets out a loud squeak of delight. Amelia spirals more and more ice and snow, her magic trailing behind the Pongo and glittering like the tail of a shooting star. Gingalain sits down beside me.
When I first met you, I felt like I could sense some magic within you, too.
I mean, I have a manipulator, so that would make sense. Gingalain studies me. His eyes seem to stare deep within me, as if trying to unmask my secrets. I shift underneath his gaze. Does he already know about me? No, I'm just being paranoid. Shaking the thought out of my head, I smile at Gingalain, who returns my grin. His eyes crinkle warmly as he smiles.
Admittedly, I'm curious to know more about you. Perhaps I could dedicate a whole verse about you and your adventures.
A verse? About me? He nods again, his smile bright and excited.
Where is it you hail from?
Isaria?
Yes, but where in Asaria?
Somewhere far away. Small place, you wouldn't know it.
Try me. I am fairly well traveled.
I rack my brain for the name of a city or a place, any name. It's called New York. Damn it, that's not what I meant to say. Gingalain blinks in surprise.
New York.
Yep, like I said, small place, tiny town, smallest town ever. Not many people have heard of it. Gingalain nods, looking deep in thought.
What is New York like?
The opposite of Old York. People shop and go to work. It's pretty boring and super normal.
How odd. I haven't heard of it.
He fixes me with that same stare, and once again I feel the anxiety rise within me. Does he know I'm lying? Gingalain's smile falters, but he doesn't press me.
Did you leave to study at the Mage Academy?
Nope, Leanna taught me. Well, kind of. Not exactly. Leanna taught me everything I know.
Oh, are you training to be a mage knight as well?
Kind of. She's been training me in both casting technique and sword fighting. He nods.
I see. And how long have you been training with her?
How long have I been on Terra? Feels like years, but it could have been more than a few months. For a little bit, I guess.
Well, you must have a very high aptitude for magic indeed.
My heart stops. I haven't cast in front of him before. How does he know? What makes you say that?
Well, it takes a very skilled mage to be able to train into a mage knight.
I laugh nervously. Right, of course.
Hey, what are you guys up to?
I look up to see Leanna staying behind me. She grins with her hands on her hips. Bits of hair sparkling from Amelia's ice magic. Just chatting. I shoot to a stand, probably a little too fast, but I'm eager to get out of this conversation as quickly as possible. I'm feeling a bit tired, so I think I'm going to turn in early. Gingalain inclines his head.
Thanks for humoring this, old bard.
I nod and shuffle over to the bedrolls. I see Leanna take my newly vacant seat. The Pongo bounces over to me, shimmering from the magic.
Boy!
Did you have a good time?
Boy!
He jumps up and down, mimicking flying. I saw that. You did fly.
Boy!
He jiggles happily and nestles in beside me. It isn't too long before I hear the others start to wind down for the night. I guess I really was more tired than I thought, because I soon fall asleep to the warm glow of the fire. Someone is shaking me. I groan and blink awake. Everything still looks fuzzy. It's still dark out. What time is it? A blurry shape hovers over my face. I'm shaken again. Harder this time. What? I groan and blink again, squinting. Takes a few minutes for my eyes to adjust. Amy?
Yes. Good evening.
She doesn't move. Her face is blank but expectant. What's up?
I wish to be with you. In private.
You're too young. What? Amelia
Is
blinks.
this so surprising? I have been meaning to be alone with you for quite some time.
My heart kicks up into my throat. Excuse me?
In truth, I have been contemplating it since we departed the beach.
More and more heat gathers into my cheeks. She goes to pull me up, but I instinctively shift away and pull the bedroll tighter around myself. Amelia, I am way too old for you. It's late. You should go back to bed. Amelia tilts her head. I mean, you're like a little sister to me, you know? I can't do this. You're way too young. A pause. Amelia's stare lingers.
I do believe you have misunderstood my intentions. I wish to discuss information with you privately.
I stare at her for a few seconds, stringing and tying all of her words together. Realization rushes over me like cold water. You want to talk? Amelia nods.
Yes.
Oh. A blush burns in my face. An awkward silence settles in the space between us, but Amelia seems undeterred.
Please, come this way.
She turns on her heel with a twirl of her cloak and leads me off to the side, far away from the camp and the rest of the group. So what is it?
I have been pondering the possibility for you casting without the use of a manipulator.
Oh?
I believe it may be because you've absorbed magic from the elementals directly. That reservoir of magic has been within you since the Fire Temple, and it merely has been a matter of unlocking your potential to cast from within to utilize the energy. The harrowing situation on the beach proved it to be possible for you to channel from within. After having ample time to think, I believe it will be simple for you to pull that energy again. If this is the case, then perhaps you are able to cast more than one element.
My eyebrows knit together. More than one? She nods.
Thus far, you have only manipulated wind energy. That would lead me to the conclusion that despite the energy you absorbed, you were only using wind energy. If my theory is correct, I believe you may have untapped magic gathered inside of you, those of the other elements. It is only a matter of bringing that magic to the surface. Have you attempted to use another element before?
I shake my head. No, Leanna's just been teaching me wind magic.
I see. Then allow me to show you how to use fire magic.
What? Like right now? She nods and raises her hand. Flames blaze up and curl inside of her palm. Red and orange light flickers across her face. Whoa, that's awesome! Amelia doesn't smile, but I can see a spark of pride flicker behind her eyes. She closes her fist. The flames crackle between her fingers before flickering out with a puff of smoke.
Now, it is your turn.
Okay, how do I do it?
It is quite simple. Imagine the fire surging throughout your body. Imagine it flowing up your arm into your palm. If done correctly, a small flame should appear.
I nod and try to do as she says. I hold out my hand and close my eyes. My brows knit together in concentration. I picture flames coursing through my veins and hold out into my hand. A teasing warmth tingles down to the tips of my fingers, but nothing happens. I open my eyes, frowning. It isn't working. She crosses her arms.
This is a simple cast. Do not give up so easily.
Yeah, but maybe for me it's not so simple. It took me some time to learn wind magic. She blinks.
Yes, but this is not wind magic. Perhaps we need a different approach.
She pauses and taps her chin.
You mentioned that absorbing each individual elemental energy gave you a different sensation. Perhaps we should focus on the emotional response you felt.
The emotion? She nods. It's worth a try. Closing my eyes, I remember the fire elemental. I remember the courage and the strength that rushed through me at her touch. The feeling gathers inside my chest, coiling like a hot band of scarlet. I reach out and latch onto it. A crackling, sparkling warmth bursts down my arm. I open my eyes. Red sparks fizz at my fingertips. A huge grin splits my face. Whoa. Amelia calmly nods.
Try snapping your fingers.
I do. A tiny flame hisses and crisps, expanding into a larger one. I'm so excited I almost start laughing. Sweet! She glances at the small flame and then nods.
Yes, good. Now, let's try this.
Wait, what? The tiny flame puffs out. There's more? Amelia blinks.
Of course. You have only succeeded in creating a basic fire spell. As such, there's still more work to be done.
She's a lot stricter than Leanna. I didn't realize how encouraging it was to have a mentor who shared in the excitement of my accomplishments until now.
If my hypothesis is correct, you should be able to combine your wind magic along with your fire magic.
Casting at the same time?
Correct. It is the same as any other cast. Focus on channeling your energy through your hand again. If it is easier, perhaps it would be best to summon the wind magic first and add the fire afterwards.
Amy waits for me to try, but I shake my head. Isn't this what mage casters do?
Yes,
And doesn't it take years of schooling to become a mage caster student? Even more than it takes to become a full-fledged mage knight?
that is also correct.
What makes you think I'll be able to do it with no training and rudimentary understanding of a single element casting?
Your ability for learning is already expedited when you consider the length of time it took you to learn how to cast at all. Understanding those timelines, it does not seem unlikely that you would be able to quickly acclimate to double element casting.
Okay, I'll give it a try then. Reluctantly, I extend my hand. Instantly, a cool wind pours from my palm. Amelia's pigtails flutter in the soft breeze.
Good. Now add the fire magic.
How?
The same way you would normally cast fire.
How am I supposed to feel that same strength with fire and the feeling of freedom and weightlessness with wind? Searching within, I try to balance those two feelings and combine them into one. A moment later, that familiar tingling sensation murmurs down my arm. Heat sparks across my fingertips. Fire, larger this time, blazes into turrets around my hand and wrist. I jolt back, expecting for it to burn, but it doesn't. The wind groans and wisps around the flames, fanning them larger and larger.
Stop.
I do. The fire and wind sputter out, and the rest of my strength slips away. My knees buckle, and I gasp, falling backwards against a tree. I slump to the ground like a deflated balloon.
Just as I expected.
Amelia blinks when she notices me on the ground.
Are you unwell?
I lean my head against the tree. I'll be okay. That was just a lot of energy.
I see.
She pauses, deep in thought.
Such a feat should have taken you significantly longer to learn.
She lifts her gaze back up to my face.
It might be easier for you to channel your energy because you have been absorbing magic directly from the elementals. Your progress seems to be accelerated because you are using energy stored directly from within you, instead of a secondary source, such as a manipulator.
I nod, trying to take all this information in at once, but my body feels so drained. It's suddenly an effort to keep my eyes open or my limbs up. Amelia glances at me again.
That is enough practice for tonight. Perhaps it would behoove you to get some rest.
I let out a yawn. I am pretty tired, and it still is the middle of the night. Her brows knit together in thought.
Although, if merely casting two simple spells in conjunction exhausts you to this degree, I do fear how including more elements will affect you.
What do you mean?
For you to successfully open a rift, you will have to engage all of the elements you have absorbed. To cast multiple elements at once may prove fatal if you experience such exhaustion from using just two elements in such a basic cast.
My insides freeze. That's a bit of an exaggeration, isn't it? Amy shrugs.
Of course, this is merely speculation based on my observations.
Silence fills my head. It's an odd pounding, fizzing pressure.
Perhaps you will be able to gain the strength to cast all of the elements simultaneously.
What do you mean?
The more you use magic, the more accustomed you become to it. Just like muscles can be strengthened with stamina, your mind can be exercised in such a manner for casting.
How long will that take? She hesitates.
It is no mistake that as you lack the years of training many other casters undertake, you tire much faster than others. At this time, it is difficult for me to estimate that.
My heart sinks. This whole time I've been gathering energy from each of the temples to find a way home. But now there's a chance I won't even survive long enough to make it back? I fall silent. Amy watches me closely and grows uncomfortable with my disappointment.
As I mentioned before, this is purely speculation.
I nod, barely registering what she says. My head feels numb.
Given you are exhausted, it would benefit you to get some rest.
Amy hesitates again as if unsure what to do next.
Good night.
Night. She turns on her heel and walks back to camp, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I may actually never return home. My friends and family, I may never see them again. My brain vaguely reminds me that I should go to sleep, but my feet are rooted to the ground. There was always the possibility that I may not be able to open a rift and go home, but the hope was always there. It didn't feel like such a real possibility before. Should I even bother trying to cast a rift if the consequences are literally deadly? Maybe I could be happy here on Terra. I think about my travel companions and the adventures we have together. We've only known each other for a short time, but I trust them completely. Plus, the thought of losing Leanna makes me feel empty. My world is so much fuller and brighter when I see the way her eyes light up when she smiles, or how she plays with her manipulator when she's nervous.
Can't sleep.
I spin around with the voice and see Gingalain leaning against a tree. You're up? He nods.
I heard a noise which woke me up.
I see. It was probably my casting. He peers at me in the dark.
Is something on your mind?
No, it's nothing. Neither one of us moves.
Of course, how can I expect you to be honest with me when I haven't been fully honest with you?
I knew there was something suspicious about him, especially when he was asking all those questions. Tensing up, I watch him warily. Honest about what?
Truth is, I had an ulterior motive for joining your group. While I do still believe you'd all make for a fantastic story, I joined to get to know you specifically.
Why me?
I saw you at the beach.
The blood pounds in my ears. Maybe it's not what I think it is. So, we were all just there hanging out.
I saw you cast without using a manipulator. Save that boy.
My heart hammers in my chest and I ball my fists. He saw me and he sought me out. You must have been mistaken. That's impossible. Gingalain holds out his hands as a gesture of peace.
Please don't take that the wrong way. What you did was absolutely amazing, and I just wanted to learn more about you, to understand how you did that. I apologize if I came off too strong earlier.
Are you going to tell anyone?
No. I understand what it's like to be different from the norm, and how it can be both something special and a burden.
Slowly, I relax my fists.
I don't blame you for hiding who you truly are. Sometimes that's the safest thing you can do for yourself and others.
Sounds like he's talking from experience. I think back to the story he told earlier in the evening. Maybe there was a lot more truth to it than he let on. Thank you. He cracks a smile.
So, tell me where you're actually from now.
I freeze and he laughs at my bewildered look.
I'm just joking with you. If you ever do want to talk, maybe I can lend a little bit of insight. You don't get to my age without learning a thing or two.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. He nods, then stretches. There's something about Gingalain. Maybe it's because he's new to the party and doesn't really know me yet. Or maybe it's because I just really need someone to talk to. But something makes me want to share. The words tumble out of my mouth. Actually, there is something I'd like to ask you. He nods. So supposing you had a friend who was from somewhere else, and the only way for him to go home is so dangerous there's a chance he wouldn't survive the journey, would you still encourage him to take that option? Gingalain rubs his beard thoughtfully.
I would ask this friend what he means by home.
I blink. His friends, his family, his entire life.
Do you think those people would want him to make a life or death decision just to return to them? Or would they feel better knowing he chose the path that would guarantee him a life he could live as he wished?
I never really thought about it like that. But then he'd be stuck in his new world forever. Gingalain shakes his head.
Life is a journey. There is no defined destination. And because of that, there are no right or wrong ways to travel along this journey. Perhaps one day, his journey will be safe. Or he may not want to go back. Perhaps another day, The choice will be made for him, or he can choose between both.
I feel myself relax as he speaks. He's right, I shouldn't give up hope just yet, because a challenge has been thrown my way. Thanks. That helps a lot.
Just remember that you have people who care about you, and will support you in whatever you decide.
No, it's not me, it's a...
Hypothetical friend, yes.
He winks at me, then stretches again.
Well, I think it's about time I try to get back to sleep.
Same here. Feels to me like Gingalain has experienced a lot more than the typical bard. Maybe he's also had to deal with some tough decisions in his life. Either way, he's pretty alright in my book. We head back to the rest of our party in silence. Only the gentle breathing of my friends can be heard over our footsteps. As I curl back into my bedroll, I quickly drift off into a deep sleep. I'm shaken awake again. A soft groan escapes as I blink from the blinding sun. Leanna hovers over me and I groan softly. That's right. She doesn't know about my impromptu midnight training session. Guess I better get ready to spar. Stifling a yawn, I crawl out of bed and join Leanna out in the field. We practice sparring until my muscles are sore and Leanna is broken out into a sweat. Neither of us manages to knock the other one down this time, leaving us in a draw. When we return to the campsite, Kira and Zack are nowhere to be seen.
Hey, where did Zack and Kara go?
Amelia looks up. She's crouched beside the fire pit with the pongo nuzzled between her neck and shoulder.
They were not here when I awakened.
Huh, that's weird. Kara usually sleeps in and Zack sticks around to make everyone breakfast. Wonder where they could have gone. Amy sparks a small fire. We hang an iron pot over the flames and Amelia waves her hand. Cool water rushes from her palm and splashes inside. She smiles, pleased with herself, and raises the crackling flames to make the water boil faster. Gingalain watches on with interest at Amy's skill. After a while, I see Zack and Kara approaching us from the distance. As they get closer, I can see Kara retying her chestnut hair into a ponytail. There are a few leaves sticking up in Zack's hair, and by the time they reach us, I notice his face has a little more color than usual. Leanna watches them with a suspicious look, but she doesn't say anything. Amy is too preoccupied with stirring the porridge to notice.
Good morning, friends.
Hi. Kara seems to be in a good mood. I haven't seen her smile this much in a while. Her eyes are brighter like a cat's. She stands on her tiptoes and picks a few leaves out of Zack's messy hair. Is it just me, or does she have a few extra scrapes than usual? Or does he have a few extra scrapes than usual? I can see the tail end of a scarlet scratch torn across his collarbone, curling out from underneath the top of his shirt. His coat is a little lopsided, too, like he put it on in a hurry. Kara smiles and brushes some of the dirt off his broad shoulders.
Hey.
I lift an eyebrow. Hey, where did you guys go? Zack's face starts to flush.
We went hunting for breakfast.
I raise an eyebrow. So, where is it? Zack blinks.
Oh.
The blush brightens in his cheeks.
I ate it already.
Kara's gaze slides up to Zack's face. The corner of her mouth tugs upwards.
You sure did do some eating.
I choke and mask it into a cough. Leanna looks confused.
What did you eat?
Zack's cheeks seem to have gone up in flames. His face is ruby red. He avoids eye contact and forces out an uncomfortable cough. Amelia finally looks up from her breakfast and stares at the scene. She glances between Zack and Kara and then back at Zack. Her gaze lingers. Zack shifts under her stare, clearly uncomfortable. Amy's eyes seem to be boring into his skin. After a long silence, she tilts her head.
Zack, you appear to be injured.
Zack blinks.
What?
She points.
You have a slight abrasion on your neck.
He chokes and shows the collar of his jacket up to cover his throat, but to no avail. I can still see it.
Don't worry about it. The hunt just got a little rough.
Leanna glances to where Amelia is pointing. A second later, her face grows pink.
Oh, Kara!
Kara feigns innocence.
What?
You know what?
I really don't have the faintest idea.
Her eyes are full of mirth as Leanna fidgets.
Never mind. Maybe the rest of us should just eat too.
Her eyes flick to Kara's smirk.
I mean, eat a meal!
As opposed to?
As opposed to nothing! That's why I said a meal!
Gingalain looks from Kara to Zack to Leanna's burning face and bursts into laughter.
I can tell this is going to be fun.
Zack brushes past him as he reaches for the plates. Kara is a step behind him. Gingalain leaves and returns with a few walnuts and berries. He adds them into our porridge for some extra flavor. I have to admit it'd be pretty bland without them. The rest of breakfast is passed in uncomfortable silence. Kara casts long glances at Zack, who pretends not to notice. Leanna looks at anyone but the two of them, while Amy seems as oblivious as ever. Only Gingalain seems to be thoroughly enjoying himself. Once breakfast is over, we clean up the camp and continue on our way to the water temple. The path crunches under our feet. The sky is clear and the sun scatters its fingers like crowns over the tops of the trees. I can see mountains in the distance. The jagged ridges sprawled out along the horizon like ocean waves. When I start to break out into a slight sweat, we find ourselves surrounded by the mountains. I gaze up the range of sharp peaks like dragon teeth. Others disappear high into the clouds. We stop in at the hollow of the mountain. The air smells of jasmine and salt. I pause, my eyes falling onto a wide cave mouth. Is that the entrance? Gingalain beams.
Yes, this is it.
We cautiously enter the cavernous entrance. Blue light flickers across the cave walls, a faint glow radiates. I take another look and see a large staircase leading down into deep dark water. Wait a second, are we going underwater? Gingalain nods.
Yes, sir. These steps will lead us to an underwater tunnel, which will take us to the temple.
We'll go with this one. Good thing I swim like a fish. Leanna frowns.
Do you know how deep this tunnel goes? It could be dangerous.
That's true, but we are currently out of options.
We sure are.
I wish we knew what else we could do. Kara and I share a grin. Zack facepalms while Leanna's mouth flattens.
Really?
You could probably summarize this entire
Perhaps
journey
my
with that
water
one word.
magic could be of assistance.
Gingalain looks at her and grins.
We are fortunate to have a mage caster with us who can manipulate water.
He closes his eyes and puts a hand over his chest.
With a mere twist of the wrist, she bends the sea to her will. And to the wave which dare defies her, her ice will freeze it still.
Leanna's eyes light up.
That was beautiful.
She claps. Gingalain smiles, earnest and embarrassed.
Oh, do you think so? Perhaps I should write it down.
You should. Maybe it can go into your new poem.
Leanna grins up at Gingalain, and the familiar prick of jealousy stabs my chest. I can't let this guy upstage me. Down in the depths of the sea is where our travelers needed to be. They had to hold their breath, or drowning would be their death. My mind goes blank. Let's hope none of them have to pee? Leanna stares at me as if I've sprouted a third head. It's a work in progress. Gingalain laughs heartily.
Very amusing. I'm sure it'll be even better when polished.
Are you guys ready to go now?
We nod. Gingalain leads us down the stairs. Barnacles, seaweed, and mussels cling to the dark gray stones. The water ripples at our feet. As I look out, it only becomes deeper. Amy steps forward, her manipulators glowing.
Do the stairs continue to descend?
I'll admit I'm uncertain.
It is of no matter. We shall soon discover the answer. Please, continue.
She waves her arms in the air as Gingalain takes a step forward in the water, moves out of the way of his boot. His grin broadens as the water flows around him, keeping him wrapped in a dry bubble.
What do you know? There are more stairs.
Amelia remains in the back with her manipulators glowing. We travel ahead of her and continue down the stairs. As we descend further down, I glance up at the shimmering water which slips easily around us. Small schools of fish scurry past, bobbing as they swim around us. Soon the stairs level out. We follow a shallow corridor which opens up into the mouth of a large cavern. Several tunnels branch off in different directions around the cavern, but it's too dark inside to see where they may go. Blue crystals glitter all across the cavern. Some cling to the ceiling like icicles, while others are spread across the walls like frost.
Boy?
The Pongo pops his head out from inside of Amelia's pouch. His eyes light up with wonder.
Boy! Water crystals.
What? She points to something behind me. Amelia crosses to a few crystals that are glowing along the ground. She fidgets with her bracelets, the symbols line up as she scans them.
Fascinating.
What is?
These water crystals are mineable ore. One can use them to create spheres.
If that's the case, then how come no one else has come here to mine them? Amelia doesn't even turn around to face me, completely absorbed with the crystals.
This place has been lost to knowledge.
She touches one of the crystals. Her bracelets glow firelight bright. Ice creaks underneath her touch, and then I hear a sharp snap. A bit of the sapphire cracks off and her eyes brighten. She holds the piece up, examining it from side to side. I'm confused. We've seen crystals before. They're all over, powering up every single city we've been to. Is there something special about water crystals? Amelia shakes her head.
Crystals near temples are a rarity. I will use this one to study for further research.
The Pongo leaps out of her pouch and nibbles on a large crystal. He wobbles, obviously content. Leanna, Zack, and Kara wander around and check out the crystals. Their deep blue reflects off of the water and sparkle dancing lights across the cavern space. It reminds me of a disco ball. The effect is a bit mesmerizing. Gingalain turns down one of the tunnels.
The temple should be down here.
I look to where he's going. Something flickers in the depths of one of the tunnels, something silvery and bright. I follow Gingalain into the tunnel where my shoulder bumps into a slick surface. Ow! My brows furrow. We're inside of a cave, so why is this wall so smooth? I reach up and touch cool glass. A mirror. I look around. No. A whole room full of mirrors. My breath catches in my throat. Hundreds of reflections blink back at me. Guys, are you seeing this? No response. Guys? I turn around. No one is there. I notice the walls in our previous path are also lined with mirrors. How did I walk through that without noticing before? Did the others do the same? They could have gone anywhere. This wasn't just a room, it was a maze. Everywhere I turn, I see myself. I run my hands over the mirrors to keep myself grounded, but with so many reflections, I have a hard time keeping track of where I'm going. It just feels like I'm going in circles. I let out a small growl of frustration, turning around. Something purple flashes from the corner of my eye, then something white.
Hey, is that you?
Kara? I turn to see her and Lena standing at the end of one of the paths. Kara grins and waves at me. I grin back, excitement flooding into my chest. Finally, I dash towards them and slam face first straight into a mirror. I lurch backwards, cupping my nose. I hear footsteps behind me.
Are you alright?
A blush crawls into my face. Yeah. My nose throbs with pain, but I didn't hit the wall hard enough to leave any real damage.
It was hard traveling through this maze for me too.
The three of us jump and whirl around. Amelia cocks her head and stares at me. Where did you come from?
I followed your voices and found you all here.
Oh, did you see the others? Her gaze lingers on me again.
No.
Leanna twists her hands nervously.
I really don't like the look of this place. The mirrors are so creepy.
Maybe we should find a way out.
What about Zack and Ginga Lane?
We might run into them. Either way, it's better than just standing here admiring ourselves in the mirror.
Sounds like a plan.
We twist in and out of the maze. For a while, it feels like we're making progress. We go down a long path leading straight to Kara's size.
Dead end.
She places her hand on the mirror in front of us.
This is going to take forever.
Wait,
I look up. Something shimmers inside of the mirror. Foggy at first, but then it slowly becomes clear. Letters brighten and form together to create a single word. Us. Kara blinks.
That's it? Just us?
She frowns, resting a hand on her hip.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Something to do with us?
Do you think there are more words hidden out here?
Probably.
I glance at Amelia, who wears an intense stare. What do you think, Amy? She shrugs, but otherwise doesn't answer. I guess we move on then. We turn around and try again. The second one takes us longer to find. We keep twisting and turning in circles before Leanna ultimately reaches out and accidentally pats against a solid mirror at the end of a corridor. The letters breathe and flare up again. They form a new word.
Among
Leanna frowns, her brows crinkling together.
us and among? What does that mean?
They're really stressing something that has to do with us. I'm not sure I like the sound of that.
There are probably some more words out there we need to find to make sense of this.
Amy hangs back again and watches silently. She feels my eyes on her and shifts her gaze onto me. I feel like her stare is a challenge, but I don't know why.
Can you make any sense out of this, Amy? You're usually really good with puzzles.
Amelia tears her gaze off me and looks at Kara instead.
I don't know. They just seem like random words to me.
Kara blinks.
Right, but do you think it means anything?
No idea.
Well, this is still a dead end, so let's move on. We turn around again, bumping into even more mirrors. I keep getting turned around. Are we walking the same halls or going down new corridors? My hands reach out and skim across the silver mirrors as we walk. Amy remains silent and seemingly unconcerned. Her gaze continues to bore into me, making me even more nervous than I already feel. We come up to another dead end in which more letters slowly appear. Illusion. It's a message. The words are just jumbled up.
Us among illusion?
Among illusion us.
No, it's illusion among us. Leanna frowns, suddenly looking nervous.
So something among us isn't real?
Kara raises her eyebrows. You're missing punctuation.
Yeah, but what?
There was nothing else with us, just each other. Not something, someone. Leanna flinches.
Maybe, but who would it be?
Do I really want to call out Kara on this? Although there could be some fun with Leanna too. I think it's Amy.
What makes you think that?
That is what makes me think that. Her brows crinkle in confusion.
Huh?
You aren't talking like one of my science textbooks. Amy doesn't use contradictions or shy away from a challenge. Surprise flickers behind her eyes.
I see.
Plus, you keep staring at me and it's weird. Amy blinks, then a crocodile smile spreads across her face.
Good.
She shivers as she steps backwards into a mirror. When I look through, her image dissolves like water into the milky silver of the glass. When I look again, my own reflection stares back at me. Well, that was unsettling.
No kidding.
The mirrors flash a blinding white. I cringe and cover my eyes as bright spots do acrobats in front of my nose. Acrobatics? That would make a little bit more sense, I guess. I hear the sound of something shimmering, and when I look up, I see the maze dissolve into starlight. The tunnel returns to a straight path. We travel down it for a short while before seeing familiar faces.
Oh, it's you guys.
I blink, my eyes still refocusing from the sudden light. When my vision clears, I see Zack, Amelia, and Gingalain heading away across the room. Kara rushes over to Zack. Lena lets out a loud breath of relief.
Amy, you're okay.
Amelia blinks.
I assume the illusion among your group must have been me.
Yep. Lena smiles.
Well, in any case, I'm so glad you guys are safe.
Gingalain returns Leanna's smile.
Yes, we are relieved you're all safe too. It's good to be reunited.
As Leanna talks, Zack makes sure not to look anywhere except at her. Even Kara narrows her eyes.
Zack, you're acting weird. You're not another illusion, are you?
He prickles and shakes his head.
Nope. I am very much me in the most normal and loyal sense of the word.
Loyal? What did you do?
Nothing. I told you I was loyal.
Gingalain looks from Zack to Kara and lets out a hearty laugh.
I had not realized it before, Zack, but you seem to be quite the ladies' man. I will be sure to immortalize all that has happened in this most daring tale of...
No!
Zack's eyes are wide.
I mean, that's really not necessary.
What exactly happened on your side?
Leanna, Gingalain, Zack, and I had to solve a message.
Wait, but Leanna was on our side.
Correct. It was very obvious that the illusion was her.
How so?
No reason.
I look over at Zack, who's now avoiding eye contact with both Leanna and Kara.
To put it quite bluntly, Leanna attempted to seduce Zack.
Leanna's face turns crimson red.
What?
Kara turns to Zack.
And you fell for her, hey there, sailor, tactics?
Zack's face matches Leanna's in redness.
It wasn't like that at all. She was actually good.
Precisely. Her technique was especially effective. That is how we deduced she could not possibly be the real Leanna at all.
Leanna pouts.
Hey!
Kara whirls around to face Leanna.
Why would you do that? I thought we were friends.
Leanna's eyes widen. She shakes her head.
No. It wasn't me. It was illusion me. I would never hit on Zack.
Kara frowns.
And why not? Is he not good enough for you?
Huh? I mean, he must be okay if the illusion me hit on him.
I knew it!
I don't understand what's happening.
My body prickles. The image of Leanna and Zack together coils a hot band of jealousy deep within my gut. Leanna, why? She whirls to face me, looking flabbergasted.
You too?
Leanna lifts her arms into the air, exasperated.
I was literally with you guys the whole time.
Kara and I glare at her suspiciously.
Hey, don't worry. She'd never be able to do what she did back there in real life.
Kara and Leanna stiffen. They turn to face him, eyes hardening into a glare that could slice straight through all the crystals in the cave.
Excuse me?
And what exactly did she do back there?
Zack balks. He takes a step back.
I didn't mean anything.
Gingalain's spine suddenly locks.
Do you all hear that?
Kara and Leanna freeze. Everyone stops to listen. There's the sound of rushing water. Is that a waterfall? He nods.
I think so. If we're nearing water, then perhaps we're close to the temple.
We follow the source of the noise. It becomes louder and louder the further we travel. Soon we come across a temple ruin deep within the cavern. I walk up the steps and into the temple. The others follow. A sapphire pool sits at the center of the room. Waterfalls rush and flow into it as crystals glitter and sparkle all around. I stare at the pool as it begins to ripple and shift. A dark shadow ascends from the depths. A woman rises like a sea nymph, water sluicing down her body. I flinch in surprise. Hi. The woman opens her eyes. A soft smile curves her face. Dark, midnight blue hair flows like wild waves down to her lower back. A thin film of water covers her, making her look otherworldly, embraced by the soft glow of the crystals. She must be the water elemental. Her laughter sounds like a stream gurgling over precious pearls. The sound echoes deep within my chest and fills me with a strange calm. As she steps towards me, I take a step back but trip over a loose stone and fall backwards. Undeterred, she extends her hands and gently cups my face. She leans closer to me, and before I knew it, a cool splash of pressure is on my lips. My eyes automatically close as I drink in her energy. She tastes like pure spring water, and I feel a stream of energy flow into me, crisp and fluid. All too soon, the feeling ceases, and when I open my eyes, she's gone. Leanna hovers over me. I gasp when I see her, and against my will, a blush blossoms in my cheeks. Hi, Leanna.
Did you just have an encounter with the elemental?
Yes.
How did it go?
She came on to me, I swear. It wasn't my fault, she came on to me. Her brows furrow together.
What?
I needed the energy.
What are you talking about?
Amelia steps up to me and performs a scan with her manipulator. She hovers by my face and her brows crease into a frown.
How very curious.
What?
My scan reports an unusually high concentration of energy on your lips.
Leanna blinks before her eyes widen.
You kissed her?
No, it's all a misunderstanding.
Your lips didn't touch together to transfer the energy then?
Well,
They did?
it's not like I had a choice. She was already transferring the energy.
I can't believe you.
Hey, I'm the victim here. Besides, you flirted with Zack.
That was different. It wasn't even me.
Well, maybe I'm an illusion. Luckily, Kara and Zack return, their packs heavy with items. Gingalain returns too, although he remains empty-handed.
What's this about kissing an elemental?
Nothing. I scramble to my feet. I think we spent enough time here already and should get going. Gingalain hides his laughter and nods.
Yes, let us be on our way.
Leanna and Amy lead the way out of the temple. Gingalain and I follow close behind. Kara and Zack take one last scan of the area. Afterwards, they follow us out and we start heading back the way we came. Without the illusion test, the exit is just a clear path down the tunnel. The maze has completely disappeared. I guess the Guardian was the one who put the maze in as part of their trial. As we travel through the tunnel, I freeze when I hear the faint sound of voices. Catching Lena's eye, she wordlessly motions for us to stay low. Zack responds with an imperceptible nod. We creep carefully toward the mouth of the tunnel and hide behind the towering stalagmites. Kara, Zack, and Gingalain are on one side, while Lena and Amy and I are on the other. The Pongo flattens himself as low as possible on the ground. So real quick, if you don't know the difference, stalagmites erupt from the ground, stalactites hang onto the ceiling. Peeking around the corner, I see a group of about a dozen or so people bustling back and forth. The clinking of pickaxes echo through the cave as some men chip at the rocks. One of the men removes a luminescent crystal from the cave side and carries it over to a receptacle. They're collecting water crystals. Leanne and Amelia look equally concerned. Leanne already has her manipulator ready for a scan. When she sees the results, her jaw clenches. She shows Amy, who frowns. I drop my voice to a whisper. What is it?
Void.
I peer out again. In the middle of the cave are a group of cloaked figures. As one shifts, I spot double manipulators on his arms. A mage caster. It makes sense that they need someone who knows water magic to reach the temple, but that's still some serious power they're packing for a mining operation. If this is just a mining operation, why are there mages?
It would seem the mining efforts of the water crystals here are to supplement the transmutation efforts of Void.
We have to stop them.
It doesn't look like they're set up yet. I scan the area. There are a few scouts on lookout at the main cavern entrance, a couple of mages, and a handful of miners. No one seems to have detected our presence yet. Zack motions towards us, catching our attention. He signals that we should flank them and attack. Lena nods. Zack and Kara begin to creep closer to the tunnel opening. Lena and Amy confer.
Keep your magic ready. The rest of the team will focus on the scouts and miners. But we'll want to take out those mages as soon as possible.
Amelia nods and her manipulators glow. As Leanna readies herself, we begin to move in. I ready my sword and feel the tingle of magic in my fingers. Once everyone's in position, Amelia lets loose a fireball which lands square in the back of the mage caster. Zack and Kara race out and engage with the nearest miners. Gingalain rushes towards the entrance to take care of the guards, while Leanna and I charge the mages. So, matching icons. I defeat the last Void member and he drops to the ground. Panting hard, I survey the fallen Void members. My adrenaline's still high. None of them stir. Slowly, everyone trickles back together, checking that no Void members are still conscious.
Everyone okay?
We all nod.
How did Void know where the temple is?
I wondered the same thing. We got pretty lucky in finding this place.
They must be growing exponentially in power and amassing more resources than anticipated.
What do we do with those mine crystals?
We should take them. They can still be fashioned into crystal spheres, since they haven't been tainted.
I'll help.
Kara and Leanna begin to organize the fallen crystals when we hear shouting down one of the tunnels. What's that?
It sounds like Void reinforcements.
Those scouts must have alerted the rest of the troops before we took them out.
The shouting ceases, but we hear the thunder of footsteps. And before long, a group of about 20 men surround us. Zack shoots at the nearest men, but more replace the ones who fall. Leanna and Amelia shoot blasts of energy at anyone who tries to surround us, but the men keep closing in. Kara throws a handful of daggers at anyone who approaches, and I channel my energy and blast anyone who comes too close. Although our efforts are formidable, the enclosing reinforcements seem endless. As one man falls, another body soon replaces him. They close in on us until we are standing back to back. Our breathing is labored as we struggle to hold off the men. Gingalain closes his eyes, and when he opens them, they flash purple. His entire body is encased in a violet glow, beginning from a spot on his necklace beneath his throat.
Stand back!
His voice is harsh and throaty, unlike his usual smooth, velvety tones. He waves his arm and elongated shadows extend from his fingertips, pushing back the invading force. Void men groan as they are knocked backwards. Before they can get back up, Gingalain points and shadow magic channels out of his hands, colliding square into the enemy's chests. They collapse to the ground as more men swarm in. Gingalain mutters a few words and throws out his hands again. This time, as the energy channels out of him, it morphs into a phantom claw which swipes the nearest group of Void members. I watch stunned as Gingalain moves in a blur, dodging attacks from all of the Void team. Zack occasionally shoots at anyone who gets too close to him, but soon the attention shifts away from us entirely as everyone targets Gingalain. He barely seems to notice the number of men against him as one by one they fall until a pile of unconscious bodies lay at his feet. Once the last man falls, Gingalain lowers his arms and ceases his magic. His eyes return to normal as he looks at our slack-jawed stares.
Are any of you hurt?
Slowly we shake our heads.
That was shadow magic you were using.
Gingalain looks apologetic.
Yes, it was.
He looks down and hides the locket that fell off his shirt during battle, but not before Leanna notices it.
You were using tainted shadow magic against Void, and that fighting style.
Yes.
Suddenly both Leanna and Amelia gasp.
It can't be. You're really him?
Gingalain smiles sheepishly. Who is he? What's going on?
It would seem Gingalain is not Gingalain the Bard, but he is also Robin Ostergaard.
I remember seeing that name somewhere. I racked my brain trying to remember. Oh, from the Heroes of Asaria exhibit, Robin Ostergaard. I thought he was dead.
For all intents and purposes, Robin is dead.
Why did you disguise yourself as a bard?
He gives a soft smile.
I thought it would be best. With all of the disturbances Void caused, there was a massive stigma against shadow magic. I didn't want people to misconstrue the events of what happened or who I really am. I may have been a part of Void in the past, but it was before they turned into the Void that created and used tainted spheres. When their ideals began to shift, I got out. I was lucky, but not everyone was.
His voice chokes up and he pauses as he composes himself. I think back to the story he told around the campfire. It must have been his story. Robin's story.
So you gave up the prestige associated with the heroes.
He nods.
Times were hard. People were confused and on edge. It was simpler for Robin to become what they wanted him to be. I became the Bard to keep the memory of the heroes alive, so they could continue to provide hope for people.
No wonder he holds such high respect for the people of Asaria. He truly does care more about the well-being of his country rather than his own needs. I don't know if I'd been able to so easily give up the temptation of fame and glory. Robin shakes his head and urgency returns to his voice.
But we need to focus. Void is continuing to taint crystals, and it seems like they're only growing stronger.
We've been noticing more of a presence of Void, too.
Robin nods.
Since the tainted crystals are the source of their rising power, you'll have to find a way to stop production of those spheres.
It would make the most sense that production would happen at the base of their operations.
Where is that?
The Shadow Temple.
That must have been where their operations began, back when he was still a part of Void.
They can use the latent energy there to maximize output of tainting crystals. If you're able to reach the temple and absorb the energy within, you put a major dent in their operation.
I immediately look at Leanna when he mentions absorbing energy. Leanna looks just as alarmed as I do. She's about to retort when Robin stops her.
I saw what happened at the temple just now, and I felt the change in energy levels.
He turns to me.
I don't know how you're able to do that, but I've seen my share of crazy things in life, and I know that what you have is a gift. Don't be afraid of it because it strays from the norm. Use it for good.
I feel the earnestness in his voice and it empowers me.
If what he says is true, then it would behoove us to journey to the Shadow Temple.
Do you know where it is, Amy?
I would need to consult Elderism's notes.
The Shadow Temple is in the west, right on the border of Avengard.
That's the opposite side of where we are now.
I will mark it down on the map for you all.
Robin and Amelia talk further as he points out the exact location of the Shadow Temple. I survey the fallen Void members around us. What exactly should we do about these guys and the crystals?
I'll take care of them. You all should get going.
You aren't coming with us?
He shakes his head.
I know you are all more than capable of handling whatever you may encounter. I have other business to attend to now.
Leanna pauses and then nods reluctantly.
It's been an honor traveling with you.
Robin grips her hands.
I am the one who is honored to be able to know such a formidable mage knight.
It has been a most enlightening experience to have made your acquaintance. I only wish we had more time to further speak about your background. I have many questions.
I'm sure our paths will cross again someday.
Zack nods.
Take care.
Robin nods back.
I'll look forward to reading about the dashing beauty who helped save the team from danger.
He laughs.
I wouldn't dream of leaving her out of the story.
Kara blushes. Robin puts on a bittersweet grin.
Until we meet again.
After we say our goodbyes, Amelia conjures up the same bubble for us to travel back through the water. We hurry up the stairs until we return to the valley within the mountains.
It seems Void's presence is even greater than we thought.
Agreed. This is more than just a few scattered fanatics. They're reorganized.
Perhaps we should alert the authorities.
You think they're just gonna take our word for it and believe that Void is back? They'll launch an investigation which would take months, maybe years. And by the time they realize it's true, Void will be even stronger.
Zack's right.
While the team debates on the next steps, I remain quiet. Void is also on the rise and the team needs my help to defeat them. But I have energy from 4 temples now, and I have a feeling this should be enough energy to open a rift and return back home. If I even can return home. Amelia's worrying about my casting resilience is on the forefront of my mind. It nibbles on my thoughts and feeds on my fear. If I try to open a rift, there's a very real possibility that I won't survive the challenge of so much energy. The faces in my family remind me of what I've left behind. How long have I been gone? Are they worried about me? My gaze wanders to Leanna. My heart flutters whenever I see her big blue eyes fall on me. Her smile makes me feel like I'm walking on air. I love her caring nature and the way she keeps me grounded. Now that I know her, I can't imagine a life without her in it. Terra feels just as real as my home on Earth. What would happen if I left them here to defeat Void without me? Would they be okay without me, or would I just be setting them up for failure? So right here we are going to stop, and there'll be a small video after this one that's with me leaving. We'll pick up next time with staying home.